that we're going to be able to create an entire Nintendo world. And as we continued to develop it, that world became more immersive and more involved and more colorful and more exciting and more interactive.
やっぱり親子幅広い年代のお客さんに同じように楽しんでもらうアトラクションを作ろうということで今一生懸命作ってるんですけども。
Super Nintendo World is a highly themed land coming to Universal theme parks around the world, including Japan, Hollywood, Orlando, and Singapore. Every iteration of the land will contain the Mario Kart ride, and most will also contain one or more additional rides, as well as dining locations, interactive play areas, and, of course, gift shops. One of those additional attractions to be featured at almost all of the Super Nintendo World lands will be Yoshi's Adventure. This family attraction will allow you to ride on a Yoshi for your own adventure through the Mushroom Kingdom. Let's take a closer look at the track layout, character animatronics, and more for this upcoming new ride.
Let's go!
So the new Nintendo-themed area will have different levels, and it will offer our guests a unique experience. It also provides for our international and domestic guests a complete immersive experience, which will have attractions, retail, and restaurants.
1, 2, here we go!
In a recent interview, Tom Williams, CEO of Universal Parks, confirmed that Super Nintendo World in Japan will be opening next spring in 2020. He also mentioned the Yoshi attraction in the interview, even referring to it by name, Yoshi's Adventure. That's the same name that we saw in those leaked photographs of the model for Super Nintendo World. Williams mentioning Yoshi's Adventure for Japan was the first time anyone from the company actually acknowledged this attraction, but we still haven't been told anything about the ride itself. The Yoshi ride will be an Omnimover style attraction, meaning that the ride vehicles will always be moving in a long, continuous loop around the track. Although, unlike most Omnimovers at Disney parks, the ride vehicles will not rotate to point you at different directions, meaning it's not technically an Omnimover, more like a continuous ride belt system, but I digress. There will be more than 40 ride vehicles on a track at a time, with about a dozen of them at the load-unload platform alone. The load-unload platform will be a turntable style, similar to the load area for Spaceship Earth at Epcot. Guests will load and unload on a moving walkway that is rotating at the same speed that the ride vehicles are moving. The ride vehicles will be shaped like Yoshi, and they will be in various colors, something that was confirmed in the leaked photographs of the Nintendo World model. Each ride vehicle will hold at least 2 passengers, and yes, it can be 2 adults, not just a child and an adult like Pteranodon Flyers. While I often refer to this attraction as a ride where you can ride on a Yoshi, the reality is you'll actually be seated inside the ride vehicle. The seating arrangement will be similar to rides like Dumbo the Flying Elephant at Magic Kingdom. You will not be straddling Yoshi like you would on a carousel horse. The Yoshi ride entrance will be located on the lower level of a 2-level Super Nintendo World courtyard. It will be visible directly across from the land's main entrance, where guests will enter the land through Peach's castle. The ride entry is through a round golden pipe opening at the base of a large multi-level mountain structure. At the top of this mountain will be the flagpole, just like we saw in the commercial for Japan. Above the ride entrance, we'll be able to see the Yoshi ride vehicles exiting through an opening and traveling along an outside bridge, heading to our right. This will add some dynamic energy to the land. Also, characters, spinning coins, moving clouds, and a spiny thwomp will be seen above the entry, all with their own movement as well. Surprisingly, most of this is present in the official piece of concept art, which was released for Japan and also for Singapore recently as well. The moving clouds at the top of the mountain were actually just installed in Japan and can be spotted from within the park. Entering the queue, we will see gardens and trees as we wind our way around the switchbacks. In the center of the queue will be a large tree and treehouse. Near the end of our waiting, we will enter the treehouse through a door at the base of the trunk and wind our way upstairs to the upper level. At the top of the stairs is the moving load platform, and we're ready to start the ride. Once seated in our Yoshi, which is always moving along the track at the same rate of speed, we head out of the load area and outside onto the bridge that we saw earlier. To our right, we can get a great view of Peach's castle and other areas across the Mushroom Kingdom courtyard. On our left, we see hints of a large show scene that we'll experience later on the ride, along with other ride vehicles heading back into unload. As the bridge comes to an end, we'll encounter the conch door, who is repeatedly banging its beak down in front of us. After narrowly missing being conked on the head, that's when we enter a green warp pipe, bringing us to the only fully enclosed scene on the ride. Not sure what will be in this scene exactly, but we'll talk about some of the characters and set pieces that we might encounter on the ride later on. We exit the inside scene through another green warp pipe. Now we're outside again, but with the bridge and many large set pieces blocking our view, we can barely see the Mushroom Kingdom courtyard at this point. We enter a large show scene filled with dozens of characters, bad guys, and iconic objects from all of the Mario and Yoshi games. Moving clouds can be seen set against a false sky backdrop on our right. Towers of Goombas and Pokey rise into the sky. I bet it's going to be pretty crazy. We round a corner and head towards one last piranha plant that is trying to eat us before turning back into the load-unload station. After disembarking, we're sent back down to the lower level and exit through a gift shop under the bridge. There's still a lot we don't know about the attraction, and there's even rumors of some type of interactivity on the ride. Tom Williams did say that guests visiting the land will be able to use a special wristband to not only interact with the land, but also to keep scores from the rides. So I have to imagine that all of the attractions will be interactive in at least some way. Maybe there will be a way to collect eggs or fruit during the ride, or even trigger a lever that will make your Yoshi eat some of the bad guys somehow. We'll just have to wait and see. There will be over 40 different animatronics, moving figures, and animated objects, both on the Yoshi ride and above the show building. These will be things that we recognize from various Mario and Yoshi games that span over 3 decades of releases. We may encounter characters from Yoshi games like Baby Yoshis, Baby Mario and Peach, Kamek, and Poochie. Characters and bad guys from new and classic games from the entire Mario franchise might be present, like Conch Door, Piranha Plants, Goombas, Koopa Troopas, Spiny, Pokey, Bullet Bill, Thwomps, and more. And of course, it wouldn't feel like a Mario game without familiar objects like rotating gold coins, brick blocks and question mark blocks, red and green mushrooms, fire flowers, moving clouds, and much more. Currently, we only know for certain that the Yoshi ride will be coming to Super Nintendo World in Japan when it opens next spring. We could even see the track being installed from satellite images last year. The track is green in this image, and the load-unload area is yellow. Yoshi was planned for Orlando when they were originally going to build Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Florida, and it appears to be in the concept art and early permits for Universal's Epic Universe now. So this ride is still a lock for Orlando. Singapore recently announced that they were getting their own Super Nintendo World and revealed the same concept art as Japan, so it can be assumed that they will be getting it as well. The only version of Super Nintendo World that is not expected to receive the Yoshi ride will be Hollywood. They have the smallest amount of land to work with. However, in exchange for not receiving Yoshi, Universal Studios Hollywood is opening The Secret Life of Pets Off the Leash next year on the upper lot. The ride system for that ride is expected to be the same as the Yoshi ride. What do you think of the concept for this new ride? It should be a cute, fun family attraction that will be great for all ages. The main attraction for the land, Mario Kart, may not be accommodating for younger kids, older folks, or those that are prone to motion sickness, so it's great that many of the lands will offer an all-ages ride as well. Be sure to stay tuned to the channel for more news and details on Super Nintendo World as they happen. We'll be doing in-depth videos for all of the possible attractions at the land in the coming months. And consider joining our Patreon to help support videos like this. You'll get early rumors before anyone else, as well as exclusive podcast episodes and more. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
ho, ho.